This is the real me. This all I got. This all I got. I can't go back. No, I can't hold back. This is the real me.
Welcome to the Good Vibes Only podcast with the great vibes on anywhere. So sit back and wind up, check your mind for a little bit of time and enjoy. I'm surprised I can still do that to this day. It's a lot of syllables, but we here. All right. So in today's podcast, we'll be talking about, self love, right? And good self-love. I like to add the word good in front of all the the podcast titles, because I want you to know this is a good space, a great space. And I think this is a good just think this is a good one, because there's no other person that I think that exhibits self-love than this woman over here, Hashandra. And I can attest for it, because this is my cousin. All right, this is my cousin. So this is like family. I've seen it. I've seen her journey of self love. I've been around it for the most part. I've heard journey of self love. I've seen some of the certain things that she's went through. And she's also like a media creator. She does managing. She's an entrepreneur. She's a boss. My cousin is a boss. So, without all further ado, Hashandra.
Hello, everyone. Good Vibes Only podcast. I am more than honored to be here today with my family. It's always great to work with people, but it's even greater to work with people who is your real family, your family, like
Oh,
first cousins family.
exactly. First cousin, grew up together type stuff.
Yeah.
like so I know for a well fact that we've had this whole journey of self-love. And I know my earliest memories of you was all right, high school and middle, and you middle school and high school, your middle school and high school days. And I know for myself, from in my perspective, you're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna be kind of conservative until a certain point of self love. So I want to know, where did you start taking self love seriously? Because it seems like you've had self love since you were young. So I was wondering, where did you start this self love journey?
So I've always been a confident person throughout my life. I've always been the person that don't really follow the crowd. I'm not afraid of being myself. But when I really start taking self-love seriously is when I actually figured out that there was another level to self-love, and that I wasn't loving myself to the full capability that I could love myself. So I would say round about 18, I
Mm.
figured out that there was another level of self-love. And I'm 37 now, so you can only imagine the ways that I've leveled up with loving me. And it's just little things that I do. And one of the things that I do daily is I examine myself. I measure my growth, and I always grace myself. I always tell people there's three things that I do. I talk to myself, I listen to myself, and I grace myself. And those things allow me to say, hey, are you loving you? Are you
Yeah.
really good with who you are as an individual and who you are as a person? Why are you doing some of the things that you're doing to yourself? We just had a meeting Saturday for my nonprofit, and the topic was, what are you talking about? What are you saying to yourself? So I had to take some steps back and really ask myself, what are you saying to yourself every day? Are you talking fear? Or are you talking faith to yourself? Are you talking positive? Or are you talking negative? So that journey with just self-love and just realizing that there was different levels to it really leveled me up as an individual.
Yeah, I think for as an individual, learning how to take a step back and realize, all right, what is this? Another way of self love is what is this gonna? How does this affect me? What is this gonna do to me? Or if does this actually make sense? Or is this actually relevant to my growth or anything? And as far as self love, where self love can go from relationships to friendships to things, or setting boundaries and other things and stuff like that. So, and saying that, I want to know for you, how would you define self love in your words?
So self-love for me equals the authentic me. I actually wrote about it in myself. I wrote about it in my book, and I give a very in-depth description of what self-love means to me. And I also encourage other people to define what self-love means to them and to live up to that measurement instead of living up to just the corporate definition. So when I think of self-love, I think of who's the authentic version of Cassandra, who do I need to be at that time? And am I living up to the authentic version of me? So if I'm living up to the authentic version of me and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do or what I need to do to be the best version of myself, then in my perspective, I'm loving myself. Even
Exactly.
if loving myself requires me, not to speak to certain people at a certain time, or requires me to go off in my little, what I call my lion's den or my cave. Shout out to the Leos. If I have to go out in my cave for a minute, then that's just what I have to do in order to be the best version of me. So I guess
Yes.
the answer would be just being the authentic version of me and the best version of me,
First of all,
and being unapologetic about it. You can't be apologetic about who you are.
exactly. First of all, Cancer Nation got to throw that in there. No, so all right.
Leo
So
gang.
see. So the first of all, we're not gonna get past. We're not gonna go any further because you done brought up two things, and you ain't said the name of it. So I wanna so could you like tell us the name of your nonprofit? Like give us a little promo of your nonprofit name, what y'all do, and then your book.
Okay, so the name of the nonprofit is called MAD. Is an acronym meaning Manifested Deliverance. And what we do is we encourage all people to get mad the right way through healthy cycles. And when I say healthy cycles, it's by releasing, relaxing, and receiving. So we have four focal points that we have within our nonprofit. We focus on community, and that's our domestic violence awareness and also our breast cancer awareness. We actually have an event coming up in April, which is our Family Expo. The other area that we focus on is in empowerment. We empower 25 women per month through a meeting that we have for women ages 21 and up. We have our food pantry, and we also have our education department, which helps kids ages 17 to 21, and we help them with direction to get their GED, to graduate under our nonprofit, or just to make a plan for life. So if you want to find out more about the nonprofit, you can go to www.mymadlife.org, and it'll lay out the nonprofit. As far as the book, this is actually my second book, and I take this guy with me everywhere I go. But it's called
Yeah.
Unattached: The Final Season, and I'm very happy about this book. But Unattached: The Final Season, it is my 20-year journey of discovering the authentic me in the area of romantic love. So it takes you through my life from the point of me losing my virginity up until last year and discovering who I am when it comes to love, and basically just riding out my journey with me. There are so many points in this book, and it's an amazing book. The first book I wrote for me, I needed to release. This
Mhm.
book I wrote for the world because it's so saddening to me for people just to give up on love, any type of love. Love is so important.
Yes. Yes, I actually totally agree. I appreciate you doing that. That she up here doing a whole lot, and giving back to community, and everything. Cause I know as us growing up, we had the community center. Don't knock
Mm-hmm.
me for not remembering the name of the community center, but I do remember the community center because I was there. I was there all the time when I was
Mm-hmm.
there. So I do remember growing up in the community center. So I feel like that's like that was like was that to you like a good catalyst to like, all right, cool, this is actually the impact that I would like to have, because if y'all don't know, so I don't know if she's from Patterson, but I think she's from Patterson. I'm gonna say Patterson. So she grew up in Patterson, and I grew up in Jessup, but I used to like always visit. When I went to Patterson, I would go to the community center down there, and the community center kind of basically, hey, let's get together, and we're gonna have some meals, we're gonna have some fun, some games, Easter egg hunts, and everything. Because I don't know if y'all know about the city of Patterson, but it ain't really much to do. Ain't really much, ain't really much to do. So it's a good, it's a small city, but it
One red light.
yeah, exactly. One red light, literally one red light. And I think one church. No, there's multiple churches, but there's one main church.
There's a few churches, but there's one red light.
Yeah, there's one red light. There's one red light. All right. So it's a small town, but it's like a community. It's like a community. Like
It
that's what
is.
it is. So what was your catalyst on into getting into this type of stuff?
So I believe that the way that I grew up really did assist me and help me to develop into the person that I am today. I don't discount my childhood by any means. I had some amazing people in my life that I looked up to. And even if I didn't totally look up to them as a
Yeah.
whole person, there were certain characteristics about them that I really, really admired. So of course, when we went to the community center, the Edward Bud Duke Community Center, when we
There
went
you
there,
go.
there was always stuff going on. There was teen night. We had an uncle from Washington, D.C., who would bring down people from Black colleges so that we could see people of color that looked like us, that could speak to us, that was in high authority places. We had people come and talk to us about HIV, about sex protection, about, just a lot of things. We were really well-rounded individuals. We had softball games. So just the togetherness and the family unit, being able to have a place where we can go and talk to somebody, having adults in our lives, I think that really did just help me to develop and become the person that I am. Once I got older and I realized my gifts and my talents, I had to figure out how to incorporate them into my personality. Because I always tell people, I don't have a job. I'm investing into my future, and that in turn gives me money so that I can live. But beyond the money is the blessings, because I'm doing what I believe that God wants me to do. He always provides for me. So I never discount my background for the upbringing. I never discredit my relationship with God as to developing me into who I am today.
Yeah.
So a big lead to where I am.
That is actually amazing. I think that actually kind of leads me into like the next thing. It's like, so like I guess like lessons and stuff like that. So when it comes to like self love and like all these things, when it comes to like, you're trying to love yourself so you can better yourself to do bigger things, do better things, break generational curses that might be there, or situations like that. So I want to know, like, what is your biggest lesson? What is one of the best lessons you learned, or one of the hardest, and what is one of the hardest lessons you had to learn when it comes to self love?
I would say that the best and the hardest lesson that I had to learn was to accept who I am. I think that a lot of people have issues, and this is just my personal opinion. I think that a lot of people have issues with loving themselves because they don't accept who they are as an individual.
Yeah,
They look at, I would say I look at situations to better me instead of make me bitter. And I was talking to someone and I was telling them about some of the things that I've been through in life. And they're looking at me like, wow, you overcame all of this. And I'm like, yeah, because I wasn't focused on the issue. I was focused on the solution.
yeah,
But before I could even focus on the solution, I had to go within myself and really tell myself, what do you want? Who are you? How can you incorporate your wants with basically escalating your life to the next level? Like, what do you need to do? So I had to just really fall back and just be who I am, and be who I am unapologetically. So I would tell anybody who's struggling with self-love to first, like I said, talk to yourself, get rid of all those extra voices in your head, and figure out, just really calm down and figure out, who am I as an individual? Like, what do I really want? Not what my mom wants for me, not what my dad wants for me, not what my friends want for me, but what do I want? And then after you do that and you ask yourself those questions, start speaking those things into you. I have my affirmations that I say every day. I am the best-selling author in the world for my
yeah,
book Unattached, the final season, and I travel the world for great pay to motivate people through books, music, and events. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am whole. I am that I am. And because I am, I can. And because I can, I will. Start feeding yourself those positive affirmations daily and hold firm to them. But in order to feed yourself those affirmations, you first have to figure out, what do I need to affirm to myself when it comes to self love? And so as you start figuring out what you want and you start affirming, then grace yourself. Grace yourself. That's the biggest thing. Grace yourself. I had to grace myself and tell myself, you're not Superwoman. You're gonna mess up. You're learning. We are put here on earth to live. So live out your purpose and understand that in finding your purpose, there's going to be bumps, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but it's okay because that's life. So
Yes.
that's what's really, those are the lessons that I really had to learn. And I tell people all the time, grace yourself. It's okay if you mess up, grace yourself. I'm divorced with 2 kids. And you can read in my book, and I talk about, having to deal with the fact that I was a statistic. I'm a divorced woman. I have 2 children. My children have 2 different fathers. And that messed with me psychologically because, growing up seeing our grandparents, we see this great relationship
Yeah.
and this husband wife, and I wanted that. So I had to get over the fact, girl, that's not your life. You're gonna have, you'll have to travel your own journey.
So I think that's actually a really good I think that's actually a really good lesson to learn when it comes to like self love and all other stuff. I think my biggest to me, I think my biggest lesson of self love, and if you know, you know, all right, is watching my dad's journey to a better mental. Is watching my dad's
Yes.
journey to a better mental, because I don't. If, for the people who don't know, I'll give you a synopsis. My dad used to be like out, out there, just a little bit, just a little crazy, just a little
A little
crazy,
bit.
just a little bit, just a little bit. It's like, all right, that's my dad. And so he'll do stuff, or he'll say something. You just gotta go like, I just let him have a moment, let him have a moment, let him have a moment. He'll come back and apologize like two two 2 minutes later, not even like 2 minutes later, probably like as soon as he'll do it, he'll probably yell at you, cuss at you, turn around, turn back around. Look, man, I'm sorry. he'll probably he'll probably he'll probably do something like that. She's seen it. He'll probably he'll probably do something like that. But it's like seeing like that journey. It's like seeing that journey, and also like really like realizing like, all right, for a fact, for a fact that my whole like when it comes to like both my families, I can count on one hand how many people are actually like going for their dreams, and actually like going for their aspirations, and
Right.
actually trying to do like what they want to do in life. And so I'm like, all right, cool. That's a generational curse itself that needs to, like, that needs to be like, hey, cool. And so that's why I'm kind of glad that me and like her are like doing things, and she's doing her things as well. Like, so that's all.
And you're doing your thing. I'm so
I'm trying to do what I try to do, because that's what the I think that's what the self love is. Like what she said is like being yourself. I'm gonna say
proud.
this,
Hmm.
and then I'm asking the question. I'm gonna say this: when you try to be anyone else, right? When you try to be anyone else, and then you lose that person that you were trying to be, or you're trying to be that,
Hmm.
you end up in a space where you are now lost, and now you're trying to figure out what's you, but then it becomes confusing because what you has been skewed until this other person, so you don't really know whether or not it's yourself. You don't really know whether or not you're actually acting
Right.
upon like your own things. You're not really going through your own way, but not being your own self. So it kind of causes that kind of confliction. So just be honest, be with yourself, and like be honest in situations and what they are. So the question, another question I wanted to ask is like, what is like one of these good, what is a good way that you think people can like, you know, keep up, with their self love, not just in a sense of, not just in a sense of like relationships or anything, just in general. What do you think is a way that people can keep up with self love,
Can keep up with self love.
like exercises?
One way I Okay, got you. One way that I do that I keep up with self love as far as like measuring it is music.
Yeah.
I always say that music is my first love and love is my first language. So one way that I keep up with my self love is journaling, music, writing, and I go back and I listen to my own music, or I'll go back and I read my own journaling, or I'll go back and I'll read my own poetry, or I'll read my own book, and I'll just say, where was I 6 months ago,
Mm,
and where do I need to be now? So then by actually like exercising and amping it or getting to another level, because of course we know that there's levels to this self-love, I just try to focus on an area that I really want to improve in or that I see that I'm lacking in. And I'm just gonna put this out there. I was listening to a message from TD Jakes, and he said, we're not gonna be great every day at everything, but don't fail at the same thing every day.
yeah.
So that just goes to again to bracing yourself. And so when you're exercising and trying to increase your self-love, or you want to measure your self-love and see, how far have I came and where do I need to go, you just have to kind of just go back and look and see where you are, and then that area that you're not so good in, try to elevate it a little more. I know that my personal downfalls, the areas that I struggle in the most, are romantic love
Mm,
and exercise. I hate to work out. So I've just did these little tips. I know that working out is an issue. I know that romantic love is an issue. So as far as working out, I wake up every morning at 6 o'clock. Even though I don't get out my bed, I've been telling myself, get up. 2 weeks ago, I did a personal trainer for 2 weeks just to see how I would like it. And I did good. I lost weight. And I found out through that experiment with working with a personal trainer, because that was the first time I've ever worked with a personal trainer,
yeah.
was that okay, why can I get up and work with this personal trainer at 7 o'clock in the morning, but I can't get up and work out at 7 o'clock in the morning myself? So I found out I don't have a issue with accountability. I can be accountable to you and be there, but I have an issue with showing up for myself. So self-discipline.
Yeah.
So just learning yourself through the process helps as well. And then with romantic love, I don't have an issue with being in a romance with someone, but I have an issue with dating. So I had to dissect that as well, measure out why didn't I like to date, all those things. And I found out it's not that I don't like to date. I don't like boring dates. I don't want to be taken to dinner.
Mm,
I don't want the Netflix and chill. I want an exciting date where we can know each other and get to learn each other rather than just telling everything right on the first date over dinner. So that would definitely help you to exercise your self love by learning yourself, and then of course putting that measuring stick on it, having something to measure it by.
am I the only one who, like, when you go to like a restaurant or a date, am I the only one who feel like they're just instantly being judged? I don't like those. I don't like restaurant date. I don't like restaurant date. I don't like restaurant
I don't
dates.
either. I hate them.
I just
I
feel
hate them.
judged. I feel judged. I'm like, you judging me all. You judging me all. You judging me already. Let's go to the arcade. Can we go to let's go to the arcade. Like, I'm black, so we
Right.
ain't going hang glider. So, but we could go some other place. Like, just let's go
I
do
love
something.
going on a date where we're doing something. I don't care if we're playing Uno. Uno
Yeah,
can tell you the character of somebody. Like,
yes.
if are you going to get mad? Are you a team player? Are you competitive? There's different characteristics that you can pick up from simply just playing Uno. So I like the active dates with people. I said I know that I found somebody that I'm interested in when they like, hey, do you want to go water skiing for our first date? Yes,
Yes.
I want to go water skiing. I want
Listen,
to do something that I've never done.
listen, y'all gonna be disappointed. Y'all gonna be disappointed with me. Look, y'all play Uno with me. I'm too competitive. I don't like to look. I don't like. To, I don't
See,
like. I
I am too.
I don't like to lose me and my wife play basketball, and I think my competitive spirit sometimes it needs to be tamed. Sometimes it needs to be tamed, and yeah, I will admit that. But it's just I don't know. It's just like clicks in my mind, and I'm no longer like if you do one thing that I feel like all right disrespected, I now have to go off. So we play basketball because this is my love language. Like all right, cool, reciprocate what I give back to you. So I was like,
Right.
so like I was like, hey, we started playing basketball, and she made a shot on me, and she started to get into my face, and I'm like, oh, okay, you realize I let you make that. She's like, no, I don't care. I made it on your face. I made it on your face. I was like, all right, bet we're gonna love and basketball this crap. Let's go. started going, started
I
going.
love it.
I started going off, and she was like, "Why you have to do all? You ain't have to do all that." I was like, "You did. I did. I definitely did. I definitely did. Definitely did. I felt it in my mind. I felt it. I
And
probably should have stopped."
that's a part of self love. You're not giving up what you want for that other person. You're still having fun. You're
Yeah,
still being who you are, but you're incorporating another person on your journey in a romantic space where you're sharing that with them. So
exactly.
I really want that as well. I really love y'all marriage. That's just awesome. I see
Yeah,
you both just grinding and hustling and still having your dreams and your ambitions. So that's good because I need somebody who's going to have some fun because I'm a jokester.
exactly. This is
I like to play around.
this that joke. This is that joke. You gotta be able to just go. You gotta be able to just go out there and let loose and everything. So
Mhm.
So my last question before we get out of here is I always like to like if anybody's watched, I always like to give the guest a chance to give a word or give some type of advice. So what is any advice in general, or it doesn't have to be self love. It could just be in general. If you want to make it about self love, it could be self love. What are some advice that you want to give to the people out there, like at all?
This is some advice that I give. It's actually the name of my LLC.
Hmm.
Don't overthink yourself out of being yourself. Just be.
Okay.
Don't overthink yourself out of being yourself. Just be. So I actually do. I'm a certified life coach, and I do life consulting. And so I'll encourage people to stop thinking so much about the wrong stuff. Like,
Ooh.
focus on the positive things and don't overthink yourself out of being who you are. Stop letting that mind race to the point where you thought yourself out of a business, you thought yourself out of that $1 million, you thought yourself out of a relationship, you thought yourself out of having good parenting skills. You're just so overthinking and thinking so much that you're not just being. So if I could leave your listeners on the Good Vibe Only podcast with just that one tip, stop overthinking and just be. Allow the universe to just flow. Allow the spirit inside of you to just flow. And if you're a believer, just trust God. If you're not a believer, then you got to have some trust within yourself to just be yourself. Just relax and live those
That
good vibes.
Exactly. Good vibes. Be yourself. That is actually really good advice. I will say, please heed that word because it'll take you so far. It'll take you so far. I promise you, it'll take you so far. And with that being said, I want to thank my guests, my family, my cousin Chandra. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And until next time, much love, peace, and soul food, baby. Bye.